There we go. So welcome to the community sharing group. Welcome to our board members who are here and all the others who are here. And I see Tom there's 11 people once again up on Pine Ridge listening in on my phone. Whoops. Supposedly a second group is going to come in that way, but I don't see them yet. So welcome to everybody. We're going to dig into what we were working on last time. Was that a week? Yeah, just a week ago, when we really got involved beyond Mother Earth into the animals. And we were getting a lot of comments and questions, and then the show was over. So we decided to follow up, giving some suggestions, and work this one around animals, animal guides, spirit guides, and the way they're shifting. Because I'm seeing them shift a lot. I don't know about the rest of you. We'll find out as we go through the program. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us at the moment. Okay, that's good. Infinity number. This is a weekly program. Sanctuaries of the Earth Mother. We usually shift it around, but since we wanted to do part 2, some of us who were leading it last week came back on, and other members will come on for following programs. I don't know what's next week. I was trying to remember, but I don't really know. So just look, we'll post them up. The work we're doing is all around Mother Earth, and not just listening to her, but doing what she's telling us to do. And it's interesting. I'm seeing more and more circles and groups coming up with that same sort of energy. There was a couple of them today that I was invited onto. One was like Grandmother's Group, the name of which escapes me. Some of you may be on it. I don't see it. If it comes up, I'll share it. Those of us who have been, some more folks coming, doing this for a while, have gotten used to listening to Mother Earth. I know I have. Everything I do with the earth. I do with nature. It's been my whole walk. But I don't think I've done all that I could of the things that she's clearly told me I should be doing. I hate the word should, but in this case, I'll use it, that I could be using. So I'm going to just throw that out there for now. And let's see who wants to open this. Who would like to? June, you're new. Would you like to open with a prayer for us? You don't have to. I can pass it elsewhere.
Unmute. Okay, I think I'm unmuted.
Yes, you are.
So you put it to the new person, huh? No.
Yeah. I do have a fair amount of heyoka. I'm sorry, June.
So just like opening prayer.
An opening prayer, an opening thought, whatever moves you, just to get the energy flowing in the circle. Yes.
Okay. Well, my name is June, and I'm just honored to be here with each and every one of you. I'm here from Sedona, actually in Cornville, and I'd be happy to do this opening prayer. So Creator, I just ask that you come and support us now, all our ancestors, our guides, our animal spirits, as we're speaking about today, to come forth and allow the sounds and the words and the energy to flow as it's intended to for all that are listening, that it come upon us in a good way, to continue our walk in life and support us in the work that we're doing as well. So Creator, I ask that you bless us in this session here today, and each and every person here today, and those who will be listening in the future. So just blessings for each of us. Oh.
Thank you. Perfect. Appreciate that. I'm going to hold the talking stick since there's a good number of us, and the folks in Pine Ridge are already typing away, so I'll share what they say as they do it. It's interesting we're doing this show on animals, and my two dogs are hanging right here below me now. Of course, I haven't fed them yet. That might have something to do with it. I'm running around all day because I'm moving tomorrow. Actually, I'm starting to move. And so I had a hectic day, but it was as I drove out of here earlier today to go do some of the business I needed to do to go to settlement tomorrow. A coyote ran right in front of my car and I had to slam on the brakes because I was almost on top of him. And I went, wow, okay. So what are you telling me, sister? So I went real slow as I moved out from here. We're up on a dead end road here. And sure enough, just, I don't know, 50 feet beyond that were 5 little baby rabbits all wandering out in the road. So he stopped me from, and I wasn't moving that fast, but it would have been too fast for the 5 baby rabbits. So I gave him great gratitude and went along my way and actually felt rejuvenated. I didn't feel as stressed out by what I had to do. I was glad that my encounter with the animals that early in the day was a positive one and not one that had a negative outcome. So that was my beginning today with this piece of business. Let's see who would like to open with thoughts on, yeah, Jean.
Yes, thank you for the opening prior. I was offering the tobacco out there while the grandmother's son went down the mountain. So yes, we've been. I have a friend visiting from Quebec, and we've been to the new house where Jim's is moving. So if anyone can help, he will need help to move. Anyway, on our way back from there, we've seen, I don't know, many deers. They were all together twice, just maybe 200 feet from his place. Plenty of deers. So we stop and make some pictures. And then we took back the road. And a little bit further, there were another herd of theirs in a little mountain. We stopped again, take pictures. What it is for me to see those birds, and when I went to get my friend to bring her ear around in this dead end, on my way I saw those hawks, and when we stopped, then she went put gas in, and then the hawks were around again, and I showed her, look, is there, and he followed us on the way, and just before, maybe it was where you saw the coyote this morning. I don't know, but he came through just in front of me, getting down into the canyon. It was like, whoa! But all it's what it's saying to me, those animals, they're there to bring me joys, to make me look at the beauty of Mother Earth and the nature. And what is interesting in that is it reminds me that we are one. We live with all the livings, and now, while talking, it's right there in the sky right now. The honor, it just says it's going south to north. It just crossed the sky. It just reminds me that we are one. We're part of this wonderful nature. And when I take my time, I stop and look at them and get contact, in touch. That's all they have to say. We are one. The dares are one together. And here there's a farm. We stopped on our way back to. There's plenty of sheeps, goats, 6 different kind of turkeys, even those from everywhere. They rescue some, and I don't know how many kind of chickens, really funny chickens with a hoop That's amazing. And this is how Mother Earth is telling me to remember that we are one. I'm not never alone. I'm always surrounded by the beauty of the nature. And this life of those animals, when they look at us, I took picture and the deers, they all turn their head with their big ears to me, look at me. So that's reciproc, you know. When we take this time, that's also remind them that we're all together in that, you know, on the same boat, on the back of Mother Earth, the turtle. Aho, I'll pass the stick on that.
Oh, thanks, Sean. I put up, Tom wrote from the group on Pine Ridge. The free animals, by which he means the wild animals, have been all over the res for months, much more than before. And I've heard that from other people up on Pine Ridge lately too. I'm wondering if it's happening on the other reses. I haven't asked. Should reach out to some of our Dene friends and ask them. But there's certainly been more of them up on Pine Ridge, and it's winter time, so you don't usually see them that much in the winter. Anyone else want to grab the stick? For those who don't know, since I'm taking the comments and questions from Pine Ridge, if I'm looking down and typing, it's because I'm sharing what they're putting out. Sometimes I abbreviate it. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm aware recently how it's been highlighted to me that, you know, all the plants that grow on the earth have a role. Everything we eat is a medicine. Every animal also has a role. And it's crucial that we have this balance with our animal family, because if we don't, that makes other parts of nature difficult to function the way she's designed for us. Talking stick back in the middle.
Thank you. Here, I'll toss this one in now too. Welcome to those who are coming. Grandmother Avis from up on, again on Pine Ridge, said, whoops, I lost it. Where did I get? Oh, there it is. As you say, the original First Nations are leading now, the animals. And I do. I kid about that. I don't really kid about that. I say that often. They were here before any of us. So it's probably wise to follow them, just like we follow our indigenous friends right now who are helping guide us back into connecting more strongly with the Earth Mother. The animals were there all along. They never lost any of that connection. So it's really good to watch, learn, listen. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Who else? Open this up. I don't want to throw too many of my thoughts in this week. Come on, Gentle Thunder.
I can do a quick jump on again, just adding to what I was saying before. There's the animals for me have been getting highlighted lately. Not only they fill roles in nature, you know, just by watching animals, you can find out what's edible, what's not, what season things are available and where they're available. Animals actually teach us a lot if we watch them. You know, we can look at the teachings which are recorded, the stories that are told, but just watching an animal, you can learn a lot about our environment and nature itself.
Thanks, Chris. And how
It's
about,
my turn.
okay, go.
Yeah, you know, even watching, say, our winged relatives, if they're in a group, and they're flying fast and hard away from something, that's usually them. They already know that something's going on, you know, whether it's like a fire or something coming like that. Watching and closely and observing, the creatures, even the four-leggeds, like your experience this morning, there was a coyote there, but in essence, what it feels and sounds like is that coyote was alerting you that there was babies around. And so paying attention, especially when driving, even though it's against the law, we're not supposed to be texting on our phones and such. And that's a huge distraction. And I live in a kind of a rural area as well. And especially at night on my street, when I'm coming up, I have the brights on, and I also drive slower because my intuition tells me there's a deer coming up ahead or a family of javelina. And so I slow down even more, and I'm looking side to side, and sure enough, here comes a deer popping out. So not just observing, but tapping into our own intuition as to when we are in rural areas, especially where there's more wildlife around, quail and bobcats and coyotes and deer and elk and what have you, just to be mindful and aware where you are, especially those of us who travel from destination to destination. We're often on back roads, and we're often in these places that are unfamiliar to us. So be even more mindful and more conscientious about how you're driving and where you're driving. Yeah. So observation, I'm right there with you on that. Observing, paying attention. They are like our sonar, right? They already are honed in on something that's coming. When you see a mess of different animal species that are just kind of like taking off in flight or running and scurrying, well, they're probably feeling that there's probably an earth tremor, an earthquake, or something like that coming, right? That's happened before. So, yeah, talking stick in the middle.
Yeah, totally true. And I've been a animal speaker for more years than I want to remember. But now it's totally different. You're right. It's even more. I have to pay even more attention. I have to give gratitude even more often than I did before. This house I'm buying looks out over national forest, which is one of the big draws to why I'm getting that one. And I watched the animals on the back hill doing some work when I first saw it. And I thought, that's really neat. And then Sunbird, my nephew, came and he went on the land. And sure enough, he said, "Hey, uncle, there's a ceremonial spot right down there." And of course, it was right where I had seen the animals earlier. So it's really just listening now. June?
I know I have to go in a couple
I know.
minutes. I have a call coming, but I had a client today that it's interesting. We're talking about the animal, how they work with us. And she asked, like, how do you know what your animal spirit is? And a lot of times, it's the animals that we've been drawn to our whole life. Or some animals are with us a lifetime. Some come for a certain amount of times. Some just for the moment that we need something, a message. And so I turned her to, to the Ted Andrews books, because I really love the way that he describes the totem animals. And it's about looking at the signs. When an animal comes to you, that's a sign as well, to pay attention to that. And if she wants to, go to that book and look it up and see if it applies to something in her life. And even to go ahead and look up the animals that she's already been kind of attracted to in her life. She mentioned the wolf, and the tortoise, and it's like, go ahead and read them, and I think you'll find something there for you. And that's how I see it. I've had different animals come in my life for a short amount of times, and some that have took me on a journey, and over time. So it's about just listening and taking a lot of the things that happen to us, and birds and animals, and how everything responds to us as a sign. So I
Yeah.
pass it back.
Thank you. Well said. I think we'll use that for the next piece of what we're doing here, even if you leave. But we're recording. Yeah, that's an important piece to get into right now. I totally agree with everything you said. And I'm Gray Wolf. I've been Gray Wolf for, wow, it's unbelievable, 40 years now. But there are other animals that come and go, and there's always a reason. And right now, it's almost like a revolving door. So I see that Shami has had her hand up. I'm sorry, Shami. Come on in.
Oh, it's all good. I came in super late, and I'm happy you guys are still on. And no, I don't know if you spoke to this already, but what I've been learning a lot about from the animals has been from the dog in particular. And in general, animals really have taught me a lot about life and death and rebirth and those cycles and fully being in the moment. You know, they're not thinking about the past. They're not thinking about the future. They're fully present right here, right now. And they've taught me that a lot. And recently, my pup Rumi passed away. He was living in the moment, running his butt off, and he ran across a highway and got hit by a truck. And boom, done. Right? Like you never know what's going to happen. I know that in those last moments, he was running and living his life. And he wasn't worried about anything else, just fully submersed in that moment. And he taught me a lot. And my partner Sumber taught him a lot, especially with this really sudden passing, about patience, about loyalty, about that unconditional love. He taught me patience because he tore up a lot of my van and like ripped apart my seats, always jumping out of the windows and breaking my locks. He was so smart. He would totally a total escape artist. So he taught me how to, and has Sunbird, to not be angry, right? To really have that patience and that unconditional love no matter what, because he held that unconditional love and protection for me so much as we traveled in our van across the states. And like you guys were all saying about that listening, you know, he alerted me when there was uneasiness around. And that was one of the best things and what made my family feel so safe about me being a solo female traveler was that I had him by my side, and he let me know when people were around that maybe I didn't notice. He really paid attention to the subtleties of the energies around, and that intuition as well, as he would recognize that someone needed that affection and that love, that unconditional love, and he would rest his head upon them. You know, our service animals are trained to do that technically, but they have it in them. Their intuition is that loyalty, that love, and unconditional support. And yeah, that's kind of been my lesson, especially in the cycles of life and death and rebirth, and appreciating all the spaces in between that. Yeah, just
Good.
His death has really helped me hone into the bigger picture and acceptance. Yeah, that's my little reflection.
Well, that's good. And he was a character. He was here several times, and he always had fun, but he could be mischievous. But that's part of being an animal, and it's an important part. And while you were talking, Sharon from up on the res sent down, she felt strongly. She's telling you, don't look for him with your eyes, look with spirit, he's there.
Always. Thank you, Sharon. You're right. He's still protecting in so many different forms. and
Yeah.
he's just a forever spirit guide. I feel him a lot.
It's hard because
Thank you.
they don't generally last as long as we do, but they come and do their job just like we do. You know, and we can look at the tortoises who are here for 150 years, and you know, it's all relative.
And the butterflies,
Yeah,
who are here for like
for
20
days.
days,
Yeah,
right? Like,
true. So you can't compare one to the other. Absolutely right. Shifting back onto the what June had started, animal guides, and yes, it's I've never picked an animal guide. They've always picked me, even when I didn't know they were picking me. And I have my primary. I'm Gray Wolf. I've been Gray Wolf forever, and others are coming and going. And really, right now, they're just coming and going really fast because the needs we have right now are shifting almost daily, sometimes more often than that. You mentioned Ted Andrews, and anyone doesn't know that book, Animal Speak. He actually has several books. That's my favorite, but he has one that talks about nature and landscapes also. That's very well done. Ted was an amazing guy. I miss him. There you go. There's Animal Speak. People listening to this or here now, if you don't have a copy of that, that's a book I would add to my library. I don't go anywhere without it. He probably better than anyone I know does a good job of speaking about the animals in a holistic way, in a connected way. He definitely got it. So that's a great book. And the one thing though that right now, some of the things that are even in that book are not necessarily completely valid anymore because of the changes. So where for me, whale shows up when I really need some wisdom, when I'm either doing something foolish or I should be doing something I'm not. Whale shows up to the wisdom keeper to help me out with that. Now whale seems to be showing me up when I have to stand big and strong. And it took me a while to understand, oh, there's a shift there. I'm not just supposed to look for wisdom right now from whale, but I'm supposed to know I have to stand on my 2 feet and not worry about whatever's coming, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, just do what I need to do. So there is that kind of shift going too. Who wants to jump into this on animal guides? Anybody?
Well, he also made
Yeah.
the animal wise after animals.
Yes.
Because then he added more animals and more, bugs and all of that. So it was kind of cool. I'm curious if whales in there. I haven't seen, but it might be.
I believe it's in one of his books. I think I saw it.
Yeah.
It might have been Jamie Sams, though. She's the other one I go to for a lot of.
Yeah, I like hers too.
Yeah.
The animals, like when I go do a clearing in a home, I always there are people who are like, should I put my animals away? Do I need to do anything? And I always, no matter how rambunctious or what kind of animal it is, I say no, just let them run around, because as soon as we get started, they will know exactly what's going on.
Yes.
And they find a little place and they go sit there the whole time. And so same with us, like when we're making our prayers, out in nature,
Yeah.
making offerings, we're working between the worlds, we're bringing our ancestors in, our guides in, and all the animals, the trees, the mountains, the grasses, the bugs, everything knows what's happening and are responding to us, holding space for us. And I just wanted to put that out there. But I do have to go. So thank you so much for allowing me here today. And it was an honor. And I know it's a short time, but maybe next time I can
Sure.
be. I'll look forward to the recording.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
And I
you.
see Shabby's going to be gone soon too because her phone's dying. It's all good. We're here. The circle is complete. Thank you, June. Great bits of wisdom you put in there. yesterday, I think it was. Yeah, seems like about a week ago, but that was yesterday. I had one of my dogs is Crystal. Crystal's a little rescue dog from Pine Ridge. She's now like 14 and a half. I think Cat knows her well. Um, when I rescued her, I was told there was nothing that could be done. She had a couple days to live, and I mean, she was horrific. We don't know how old she was. It was a matter of weeks, but no hair, bruises everywhere. Everything you could think of wrong was wrong. She was limping. Um, but somehow her will to live, she needed to live. And so it took a community. I didn't have the means to do everything needed to help her live. And people in our circle started contributing to a little fund. And we actually put all this, both vet work and non-traditional healing work into her. And here we are 14 and a half years later. But the interesting thing was yesterday, I was stopped at the dog park because I'm just bouncing around trying to buy a home that I never thought I'd do again. And we're sitting in the dog park, and there was a woman there with two dogs. I hadn't met her before. There's some regulars. She wasn't. And Crystal came up and started walking over to her. And the woman went, "Oh my goodness, where did that dog come from? What energy she has." And so I just gave her the little 2-minute recap of her. And she goes, "I can feel it in every part of her. That dog's a survivor. She could go 20 years." So it was interesting that she felt that. And I'm with my dogs every day, of course. So I know her strength, but I don't feel that energy radiating out the way this woman did. So she was definitely connected in. And as we talked, much like me, the animals that live with us, they're not pets. We don't own them. They are members of our circle, members of our family, whatever. And in that way, we can benefit from each other. I mean, we feed them, we take care of them, we go out together, but then they give us love. They can teach us things we otherwise wouldn't know. So it becomes a real exchange of energy, just like we do when we do ceremony, as June was saying. This is all ceremony. Anything we do with animals, to me, is ceremony. So I was just, yeah, it just came to me as she was speaking. This is a really good thread because I've been feeling this. I just haven't vocalized it lately. Who else? Who has something they want to? Anybody who hasn't spoken yet wish to? You don't have to. No shoulds, only if you want to. Phone's beeping. Christopher.
Yeah, it's slightly different sort of angle to it. But one of the things I was aware of when I was in America, the animal spirits appeared to me and they started telling me what they needed us to do to add to the environment to suit them, to give them their place in nature. And that's one of the things that they showed me is important for them and their survival is having the right nature for the animals. And that's part of our family. It's part of our whānau, as it's called over here, which is, yeah. So just a point I thought I'd add.
Yeah, good one. And it's something came as June was speaking around the different. Oh, okay. So depending on where we are, too, the animals vary, but the energy doesn't. So Christopher and I kid a lot. I'm in Land of the Eagle. We have friends who are in Land of the Condor. He's in the Land of the Kiwi. So it shifts, but it's all the same. When I used to be in Central America a lot, and I'd be there when they would uncover new medicine wheels. They always had the animals, just different animals. And so where we might have a wolf in the north, they often would have a panther or some such like that. So it's the energies as well as the type of animal. And I've seen where different animals carry very similar energies in different parts of the world. Who else? Joan?
Yes, I would just add, as I'm traveling a lot, and I agree, and that this is a really good discussion. Well, I travel a lot, and for instance, the deers this afternoon they were on the road, so I had to slow down, and I used to all the time pray and ask for the animals to be aside of the road. And to kind of open my way so I can admire them, but I don't want to hit them. So I ask them, and sometimes it slows, and I will talk to them. Get out of there, get out. There's no time, and birds or they just fly out. I don't remember to have been killing an animal on the road. Fortunately, it came really close sometime, but I really think into when I know that I have traveled a lot, or I always this in my mind, please have the road clear. And I want to see you, but on the side of the road, not in the middle of it. So that's just a little trick that I practice to to avoid collision.
Yeah, no, that's really good. It's we're gonna do some different um circles out of some of these things we're doing. And some of the ones I want to do are about animal communications and working with the animals, because it's something I've been doing my whole life. I talk to the animals all the time. I do what John does, and I ask that they be kept away. But I literally hear the animals, and people who know me and they're driving with me think I'm crazy until it happens. But we'll be driving along, and suddenly I'll just slow right down and go, whoa, we got to wait. There's a herd of deer within half a mile, or there's a fox crossing they're there. I hear their energy. I don't hear them saying, "Hey Jim, slow down," but I hear their energy coming out my body, and I don't know how many times that has allowed me to avoid a bad situation, or I've been with others and I've said, "Come on, slow, slow," and I've made them slow down, and then the animals would be there. It's not something I do consciously, because if I tried, then it wouldn't work. But I'm open to it. Hollow bone, ready, let it come in, and it comes. Christopher.
Yeah, just as you were talking before, Jim, about the eagles, condors, and things like that, what they showed me is each country has a bird that fills that role that the eagle and condor fill in their respective countries. Like every country's got a bird that fills that role, like the owls or, the hawks, eagles, the falcons. Sparrows have their role, and every country has birds that fill those roles in nature. And they feel like they communicate to each other, even between countries, which is interesting. The other thing I was going to mention, once again, in the theme that you're talking about, Gene, when I'm driving, the earth itself gives me a feeling of how fast to drive in a particular area. As long as I listen to her guidance and how she's shown me I can drive, I haven't hit an animal for years, which I'm really grateful for. Talking stick in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, these are all things we can learn. Some of them I have listened to my teachers and my elders and found ways to learn them. Once I realized I couldn't force myself to learn them, and then I started to actually learn. Others just came in. I didn't even realize they were there until they started happening. So it's just the more we can be opening to um, the creatures around us, the more they'll come there. So who is oh, Kat? Okay, Kat.
with the advent of artificial intelligence, there are currently some very exciting projects that are going on that are using big data to learn the languages of whales and other species. So I think the actual communication between species, it could be within this decade even. So I find that very exciting, especially as those who are fortunate enough to be able to speak directly and understand, like the animal whisperers, whatever species it is that you're able to understand and interpret. That's a great gift. And it will be, I think, very exciting on the planet when more and more humans will have the ability to understand the animals. That's all.
Yes, no, I agree. It's and the more I'm able to speak to them, the more comfortable I get with it. Now, for me, it's just second nature. I don't even think about it. I'm talking to them, I'm hearing them. I know they're hearing me because they react and they do things. And then there's other things that are not within my ability to do. And that's, learning to do the things we can do. I know some of my native friends who work with the animals even more than I have. They're chuckling away. Oh, cool! They're going to learn how to talk to the animals. Gee, so it's all they've been doing it forever. So yeah, it's all, but that's all good. It's all a progression. Mr. Kiwi.
Yeah, just that talking with the animals, known before people that do stuff with computers to help us do things. And we feel it's great when they help us do things, but the way I look at it, we need to develop our own talents for doing that. We all have the ability, and it's learning to listen to that whole community of nature. Listening to animals is part of listening to the earth. Listening to the earth is part of listening to nature, to animals, and even to ourselves, because there's that part of ourselves that has that connection. And a lot of modern society has lost touch with that, which is what we need to come back to. This is where we understand life. We understand the seasons, we understand our place in nature. And like several of us have said here today, when we listen, we get guidance one way or another. And that's part of living with nature, being in that harmony of that life circle that I've been finding, getting directed to lately. Everything conveys medicine, it conveys life, it conveys nature, it conveys message, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Nothing is separate from that. And even everything is made from consciousness, even right from the Big Bang. And the more we learn to listen, we actually hear the consciousness of everything, which for me is very important. So talking stick in the middle.
Yeah. So I'm hearing from a few people up there now. I'm not sure which ones, but thank you all for participating up there as always. Really appreciate it. And I'm hearing they're going off what you were saying, Chris. Okay. And so it's much how I was trained too. I was trained to first go out and just sit in nature and listen to the earth, feel the earth, feel the earth first. I was told to just go out. I was allowed to wear like a bathing suit, and that was it. And then I was told to go out and be in nature so I could start to feel the planet. From that, it went into the green things, mostly the trees, and learning to feel them and understand what they were conveying. And then when I started to get a little comfortable with that, which is, I'm talking a number of years, none of this was quick, then I was kind of guided to, okay, now start talking to the animals. Now they're ready for you. And so I did. When I first acquired my primary name of Wolf, I actually was gifted the name by my Lakota family of Red Wolf. And I took it. That was my name for 2 or 3 years. And it was a really difficult time in my life. It was so much was happening that I was like in fight or flight all the time. It was almost 24/7. After a few years, I worked out through that. I worked with my elders. I worked with healing guides. I worked with all kinds of people to get a little more stabilized. And when that happened, my primary teacher, Two Bears, said, "All right, Jim, now sit and listen to your wolf nation." I said, "Okay, what am I listening for?" "No, you listened. I'm not going to tell you." "Oh, okay." And so over a period of time, and it wasn't that long, I started to get it. And I went back to Two Bears and I said, I'm kind of getting it. I'm not Red Wolf anymore, am I? But I love the wolves. I'm one of the pack. I feel like a wolf. And he goes, "That's right. So now go listen some more." And that's when I started to realize, oh, and I went, "Well, that's really strange. Two Bears, I'm getting Gray Wolf." He goes, "Yes, you are. So what does that mean?" "I don't know. So I'm talking to some other teachers at the same time. And the difference was the red wolf is the most endangered wolf that there is, especially on Turtle Island. The gray wolf, while it's hunted all the time, is much less endangered. It's stronger. It keeps coming back. And he said, "That's your journey. You've come back from just holding on by a strand to coming back stronger. And now you're going to come into your power. So you've shifted from red wolf to gray wolf, but you're a wolf and you always walk with the wolves." So that to me was such an incredible teaching. And it really did. I mean, it shifted the way I dealt with my wolf energy into a stronger position. So that just came back to me. I haven't thought about that in years, but it seemed like a good spot to share it. Any of you who have not spoken wish to say anything, or are you all, everybody good? We still have plenty of time. I always like to make sure I offer the opportunity. I don't see any takers at the moment, so go for it, Chris. Speaker, mate.
There we are. That's much better. One thing that comes up for me that I really enjoyed when I visited with Jim, and one of the last days I was there, I was sitting outside meditating, and I noticed when I was first arrived, there was lots of noise around. There was dogs, there was birds, there was all sorts of stuff. And as I got into my meditation and I got calm inside, all the animals got calm. And this happened 3 times in a row between suddenly having a distraction or starting to think about something. The animals would rise up in noise again. And as I got back into my meditation, the animals would settle down, and they did it in 3 times in a row. And I was aware and I noted the reflection between the two. So, yeah, talking stick back in the middle.
Yeah, that's true. They really respond to us. And it's funny. I was saying jokingly to Jean the other day, yesterday, the day before, I don't know. When you're here and the animals are talking to you, or when you connect with the animals, are the animals speaking French? So the animals understand every language. That language doesn't mean anything to them because they're not tagged into us by language, but they have a full immersion into us. I think Sean's talking. I can't tell. If you are, your mic's not on. No?
No, I wasn't. but now I am. Well, actually, they're talking the language of the heart, the direct connection. That's how. That's it. So it connects to our. First of all, it has to be a good vibration, a good frequency, so they want to start talking with you, and then it's going to be through that channel that's the language of heart. That this is through that message, to that medium that they communicate. They don't have an alphabet. They don't have kind of languages. That's direct, pure love. That's how I feel that. I see that.
Yeah, no, good feedback. Chris. Speaker again, mate.
Gotta love it. Yeah, I'm aware for me they talk in consciousness, which our minds translate in whatever way they need to into our understanding. But as Jean says, it's through the heart, through our feelings that communication comes and is translated. For me, it's not a head translation or reception, which is sort of links me back to, one of the big things we're being taught at the moment is, to listen to the earth, and any of her children is done through the heart, which is why our connection back to her and to hear our guidance is through the heart, and why it's so important at this stage. And I've been learning a lot. Like, she's been teaching me every day to come from that place and learn to listen to it, when my brain is actually now listening to my heart and feelings more than it does its thoughts. In fact, the thoughts, it's becoming hard to grasp, which is interesting. So I've never had that before. Talking stick in the middle.
Kat?
I've been tracking P. Horsley for several years, and she's been gathering a community that's all they do is communicate with animals. And it's really fascinating the various ways in which they immerse themselves in that deep relationship with a different species. She wrote, and I put it in the chat, a natural birthright of all beings is the ability to communicate across apparent species boundaries. This is at the heart of coexistence. Our true nature is one of kinship and connection. And I would add to that, not separation. Human beings have kind of walled ourselves off in these shelters, and we've kind of lost that connection with the elemental forces and the plants and tree and all the places where animals live wildly. And I feel like I have domesticated myself out of some of that wild spirit that could be there if I spent more time in nature, as I did when I walked across the country. That's all.
Yeah, I guess I would just disagree with your word, kind of walled ourselves off. I think we've absolutely walled ourselves off. Too many have walled ourselves off. I was really, I was always connected with nature. I was out of nature from being a little kid. My father was all about nature. But I was 40 before I really started to understand, oh, I could go much deeper than this, and started to reconnect. And it took a long, long time. And I'm still, if there's this far to go, I've gone this far so far. And that's a wonderful thing. I never want to get too close to a destination, because then what's the point? I want to keep striving to get there. So the other piece, I'll shift this a little bit now. Does anyone have anything else on this Bart, this is a really good talk about the animal guides. And so this is related to it as well. But we have a small group that's had a couple calls, I think, so far. I don't know, around the dragons. Because the other group of animals that are really appearing right now, and I'm hearing it from people in very scattered parts of the world, are the mythical animals, the dragons, the fairies, the elves, the I can't remember what there's the small animal. I can't remember the name. Doesn't matter. But those animals are also now appearing, and I think part of it, at least, is because the veils are so thin between every realm, not just between life and death or dark and light, but literally between all the realms, animals and humans, um, all those pieces. And so I'm really, I've had dragon energy coming to me now for months. And at first I was kind of surprised. I'd never worked with dragon energy before. It just started showing up. Chris, I think you were still here when it started appearing. And it's gotten stronger and stronger. And it's just telling me that, pay attention to all of the realms, not just the ones we can see, because what we can see is such a small portion of the totality of what's out there. So I put that out there. Who wants to? Chris, you have your hand up. Was that on this, or did I miss it from before? Or?
No, it's similar on this. I'm going to pick a different point of view with mythical creatures on fairies and things. I've seen them for years. As animals have their spirit beings, plants have their spirit beings, which are fairies, elves, gnomes. There's all these creatures of nature, which for me are actually as real as you and I. And they fill their roles as well. We have our own spirit guides. And these mythical creatures, like the dragons, as you say, appeared for you, Jim, they come with a message as well. They're there for a reason. And when they appear, they're another avenue of listening. And to me, the mythical ones are often an elevated realm of listening. We're being asked to go broader, go further, go deeper into those higher realms. So talking stick in the middle.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It really does. Can't do it all at once. As soon as you do, you kind of lose the connection. Jen, I see you appeared. Did you wish to
I
take the
did
torch?
appear, yeah. You're speaking my language.
Stick is
Um,
yours.
No, yeah, so recently, yeah, I've been seeing leprechauns, fairies dropping into my space, Pegasus through meditation, tons of them, and dragons, yeah. The animals have been for my whole life, but it's recently been the other dimensional ones. Yeah. Really interesting.
It
I
really
think they're
is.
coming back. I think they're coming back. That's what I've been planning, is to bring
Oh, yeah.
Pegasus back for sure, and drag. Oh yeah. I mean, where not only we can see them, but everybody, you know.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some people I know, some I've known for years, who are actually part of those species as well.
I'm part leprechaun. I'm figuring out. And
There you
mermaid,
go. Leprechaun
mermaid
and
for
mermaid.
sure.
Okay.
Yep, I've had Sirius King Neptune visitation, and always the whales, the dolphins for my whole life, and
Yeah.
I figured out my husband. His name is derived from it's Noonan. He's Irish. He's from Cork, and like the first, I don't even know what to call them. I guess the gods, the Tuath. I don't even know how to say it. Tuatha de Danann or whatever. But they're a leprechaun family. They were supposedly pushed underground by the Catholic Church. So
Okay. And that's some of the animals too. Some of the
yeah,
animals that we thought were extinct are now reappearing. And I knew that was going to happen because I've heard that for a long, long time. It's time for them to come back again and make an appearance. And whales are one that's especially prevalent in that. There's been a lot of pods of whales that are appearing in places that supposedly they were gone.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard that.
Yeah, that was
Amazing.
it. And then the submersibles. There's a submersible now that's gone down deeper than anything ever has. I don't know if people have seen that, but it's already identified over 100 different species we never knew existed because they're so far down, we've never seen them. I find that fascinating too. They're the smart ones. They're
Amazing.
staying down there out of the way till this is over.
Yeah, honestly, we'll have to figure out how to join them. I think we're getting to that level too.
We
Some
might,
of us are just like, some
yeah,
of us are just like, you know what? I'm out of here. Let's hook up. So they're communicating with us, so they must be protecting us, is the way I'm looking at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just to go with that too. Yes, I know, and there's kids also. Kids see a lot of those fairies and all that. And but actually, there's many ways for the animal spirits to show themselves. Like just the time of this recording we're doing together, they've been a sunset, and since then in the clouds, I've seen them all. I've seen herds of bison. Now I see a
Oh
big
yeah.
bird. I've seen eagles. I've seen bear. I've seen turtles. I see they show up, you know.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I'm just in front of the window and I look at them. Wow. The, so
I've
this
seen a lot
and
of dragons in the clouds recently. Tons of
that's
them. Yeah. Yeah.
and they show up in the dreams also, and they come to
Hmm.
speak to us sometimes with really secret messages that we have to share with other people, with our friends and the universe, you know. So this
Right.
is a wonderful connection, and well, I think the best is to come. The better is to come.
For sure.
Yeah. No, very, very, yeah, very good. Just thinking of something, John came up. Oh, I know. So listening to and then Chris has his hand up. I'll get it to you in a minute, Chris. But I was listening to the animals really strongly. I think that was just today. It was. And with this move I have coming up, I'm older now. It's harder to do this sort of thing. My whole life, I've been the one who's been there to go help people who need anything. That was part of my role. And we both learned through that. Now I need some folks to help me out. So we're asking for that because I want to develop community in this place that I'm acquiring. It's much larger than I need, even with my dogs. And I realized that okay, I'm planning this out in my head. Warning, red lights, red lights. This is not a time for planning. Planning doesn't work well right now. It's allowing things to happen. Yes, a nice, you know where you're at, you know where you have to be, but how you get there, if you try to plan it too much, it's going to get you. And so as I was listening to my dogs, because I'm watching them play with John over on the side, and I'm going, okay, so it's time for a shift in energy. So I said to him, because he's going to be here and help me do this with some other folks, and I think others are going to appear. We're going to put an ask out. But I just said, I think, John, you have to take over on this and let you be the alpha wolf and say, okay, here's what we do now, here's what we do next, here's how this flows. And that'll allow a whole different energy and also an energy of community. And that's something I definitely get from animals, not from humans, especially right now as we look around and see some of the absolute insanity of too many humans.
It's crazy. My whole family is my dogs, basically.
Me too. They are my family.
This is I don't know if you can see them, but they're all knocked out cold.
Yep.
There's three of them. Two of them are probably blended into the rug, but
We still have time. Okay, I'll take the talking stick back and pass it up, not up, down to New Zealand.
Hi, Jen. Yeah, just as you were talking, what came up for me is the spirit beings, when we're open to them, they're welcome in the space and they feel that sense of being welcome. And when a place like a church or organization starts changing people and people develop an aversion, they don't feel welcome. So they pull away until we open back up to them. And I find the same in nature. When we walk in nature, if we're in connection with nature and the trees and the spirits, they come out to meet us and greet us. You know, it's like I've had little gnomes and elves and things running around my feet, and sometimes they'll hold on to my legs and shoes for a few steps before they drop off, because for them that was a big journey. Yeah, the more we're open, the more they come in, and I've seen them energy in the trees. You know, people come through who aren't tuning, and the energy pulls back, lets the person through, and then comes back together again after the person's passed through, which is quite interesting to see and yeah, just experience. So I'm always aware whenever I'm in nature, tuning in, checking in that I'm open to her, so she's there with me, and my guidance is far better when she's with me, which is what you're saying, Jim. This is what we're being called back to that connection. The other thing you mentioned, it brought up for me is I hadn't seen this before, but as you were talking, I saw some of the nature spirits are coming and starting to work with nature, getting ready to look after her, which indicates a change, because more they've just been in the living cycle, you know, from season to season, it just goes all the same. But now it's like a repair the earth time. So talking stick in the middle.
Okay, thank you. It's yeah, the folks up on Pine Ridge are listening